What's up everyone? Vu of Vu Films back with another video. And I'm gonna be testing out the DJI OSMO Pocket 3 versus the Sony ZV-E1 once again. And of course, excuse me for all the loud banging and other noises in the background because my son is here with me, and as a responsible father, I am doing other shit when I should be watching my son and doing other things with him. So it's whatever, you know, I am chasing social media clout instead of taking care of my child. I get it. But anyways, so last time I compared the Sony ZV-E1, I just compared it as a camera versus this whole gimbal camera of the DJI OSMO Pocket 3. Today I have the Sony ZV-E1 on an AI powered gimbal. In this case, it is the FEIYUTECH SCORP 2, which is one of the more expensive gimbals out there that can do AI tracking. The cheaper models would be the Hohem MT2, which I'll have all the links in the description below. But basically, if you just need a gimbal that can handle enough weight for a Sony ZV-E1 with a small lens, then you could just go for the Hohem MT2. But if you want to be able to use the gimbal for AI tracking purposes and be able to put larger, bigger, professional size cameras and lenses on the gimbal, you would want to go with the FEIYUTECH SCORP 2 for that. With that said, the lens I am pairing with the Sony ZV-E1 today is the VILTROX 20mm f2.8 lens. The reason why I'm going with this lens is because I'm trying to keep the Sony ZV-E1 overall cost as close as possible to the DJI OSMO Action 3 and have the same focal length and still have good image quality and autofocus and all that. And the VILTROX 20mm is only 150 bucks, which is probably the best value lens you could buy on the E-mount system, in my opinion, for its overall image quality, performance. You cannot go wrong with the VILTROX 20mm. So if you're looking for a good vlog lens or lens to use like this, some landscape photography or whatever, I mean, you could look no further than a 20mm VILTROX f2.8. Good lens, great autofocus, good quality, can't go wrong. So anyways, so here I have the Sony ZV-E1 on the FEIYUTECH SCORP 2 gimbal. And yeah, as you can see, pretty basic setup. I have not turned on the AI tracking ability of the gimbal yet. And honestly, this is a very simple thing. You just have to make sure AI capability is turned on the gimbal menu. And after that, you could simply have it start tracking by giving it an OK sign, just like that. And then it starts to track me wherever I walk, just as the same way the DJI OSMO Pocket 3 does. And if I wanted to stop tracking, I simply just do another OK sign, and then it has stopped tracking me, period. So it works essentially the same way the Hohem MT2 does. So regardless if you're getting the FEIYUTECH for more bigger camera balancing or you're getting the Hohem, the functionality is the same. So we're gonna just go ahead and get started with this little comparison. So I have the FEIYUTECH on tracking, it's tracking me right now. And then I'm gonna switch over DJI OSMO Pocket 3. And I'm gonna try to keep it at the same basic height. Obviously, I'm not gonna get the same exact composition, but you know, try my best here. The current Sony ZV-E1 settings I have is, let's keep in mind, I have no filters or anything on the Sony ZV-E1 with the VILTROX 20mm. And the settings right now is obviously I'm using S-Log3, f2.8 on the lens, and I'm actually cranking the shutter right now at 1/320. Right now, I am really heavily backlit. It's around noon and the light is really coming through the windows really strong. And so I'm gonna assume, I don't know what the settings are on the DJI OSMO Pocket 3. It is an f2 lens instead of f2.8. So I'm gonna assume that the shutter is gonna be more open and the ISO is lower. So hopefully we get a good overall image quality comparison between the Sony ZV-E1 with the 20mm VILTROX and the OSMO Pocket 3. And if I was gonna be honest with you, there is no real way to fairly compare these two cameras because obviously the Sony ZV-E1, it's the same sensor as FX3. The image quality is going to be overall better than the DJI OSMO Pocket 3. There's no way around that. The Sony ZV-E1 sensor, Sony A7S III, FX3 sensor, it's top notch. You know, they used it for the movie creator, so obviously it's a solid ass camera. And this is just trying to give you an overall gauge of how good the OSMO Pocket 3 is, how it compares to something that is superior to it in image quality, which is Sony ZV-E1, and if it's something that you can actually add to your kit if you're already shooting on FX3, Sony ZV-E1, whatever, and you're looking for an additional gimbal camera, or you're looking for a camera to just to vlog with and also match with your FX3 Sony ZV-E1 footage, whatever it may be, this is probably a pretty solid comparison for you in that regards. But it could also be a good comparison for those of you who are actually cross-shopping the OSMO Pocket 3 with the Sony ZV-E1, because let's say you don't have a camera yet and you're looking to do some vlogs, you're looking to do some travels, and you're completely fine with the 20mm focal length. You think that's an ideal focal length for you to use for traveling, for vlogging, which I think it's a great focal length for that. How can you get the Sony ZV-E1 as close to what the DJI OSMO Pocket 3 can do? This is the best combo I have came up with, okay? Sony ZV-E1 plus the VILTROX 20mm f2.8 lens. That is, you're looking at 2200 plus 150, that's 2350. And then you're gonna have to get either the Hohem gimbal or the FEIYUTECH, which is gonna get you, also gonna increase the price for another like 250 bucks at the minimum. So you're looking at spending a minimum 2,500 bucks for a Sony ZV-E1 kit to match the overall functionality of what the DJI OSMO Pocket 3 can do. So that's something to consider, because the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 is only like $600-700. So you're looking at that. You're comparing that pricing. So in order for me to get this shot exposed like this, borderline solar eclipse brightness, enabling me to properly expose the windows, and you can see all the details of the trees and everything, so the windows aren't blown out. I'm using this bright ass borderline solar eclipse light with the softbox, with 2 layers of diffusion on the softbox. It is the light I'm using is the GVM Pro 650B. The light I'm using is the GVM Pro 650B. This is the type of lighting you would need to pretty much fight against the sunlight. So just to give you an idea of the exposure, I'm gonna go ahead and turn the light off, and this is how I look without the light on. And for me to properly expose myself right now, I'm gonna just use the Sony ZV-E1 because obviously I can control that. I would have to be, so right now I'm at shutter speed 1/50, and I'm still not really nicely exposed. I'm still all shadowy here. And as you can see on the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, I'm also very shadowy. And you look at their windows, I could probably do some grading and some adjustments with dynamic range of the Sony ZV-E1 to get the details back over there in the windows. But I'm gonna just go ahead and turn the light back on here with the GVM app control. And then I'm gonna just crank the shutter a little bit to get to where I want it to look on the Sony ZV-E1. And you go ahead and compare the footage. So right now, both are clearly tracking me, no problem. They're kind of like the same in terms of like the sensitivity and all that. But look at the image quality, look at the detail sharpness or whatever. Obviously, because the Sony ZV-E1 is a full frame sensor, I'm getting a lot more background separation compared to the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. Now, if I wanted to match the overall depth of field, the bokeh of the Sony ZV-E1 to the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, I would have to stop down on the Sony ZV-E1 to like an f5.6, so it will match the f2 look of a 1-inch sensor. So I'm gonna go ahead and adjust the aperture to f5.6, and then adjust my So right now, if you're looking at this footage, they should look roughly the same in terms of like depth of field. And as far as I know, the only option in terms of AI tracking on the FEIYUTECH gimbal and the HOEM gimbal is that it's gonna just try to follow you, the subject, in the middle. And I think the only option you have in terms of tracking is human tracking. So it detects the human and it'll track the human in the middle of the frame, you know, as much in the middle of the frame as possible. Whereas, you know, with app control on the phone and other options within the gimbal itself, the DJI OSMO Pocket 3 can track you like in the middle based on your face or like rule of thirds depending on your composition. So the Osmo Pocket 3 has additional features there. But overall, this is the image quality comparison indoors with some artificial light over here between the Sony ZV-E1 on VILTROX 20mm f2.8 lens versus the Osmo Pocket 3 versus the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 with just pretty much auto settings on D-Log with DJI's log size D with all their new releases of their gimbal and their freaking, with their new focus. I just went ahead and just switched the ZV-E1 back to f2.8 so you get another look at that. You know, if you're looking for better background blur separation, obviously the ZV-E1 would be the one to go. If you were to ask me personally which one I would go for if I could only buy one and I had the money, you know, to buy either one, I'll get the Sony ZV-E1, but that is just me, okay? I am a professional videographer. I do this crap for a living. I do this YouTube, you know, BS. The Sony ZV-E1 is gonna be better for me because I'm gonna want interchangeable lens capabilities. I'm gonna want the best overall image quality I can get. So if I had to pick one, I would get the Sony ZV-E1. Obviously, you have to look at yourself and what you plan on doing with the camera. If you want to have ease of use and be able to film whatever quickly and still get good image quality, you want to get the DJI. You know, you want to get the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. If you are a shooter who already owns, I don't know, Sony FX3, Panasonic, whatever, Canon, whatever, and you need a small, versatile, lightweight, compact camera to use as a different angle cam, you know, B, C, D cam, you're looking for a BTS camera, you're looking for just something to use for family, whatever it is, I mean, I highly recommend the Osmo Pocket 3. Can easily color match D-Log. You could easily color match D-Log with the Sony ZV-E1 and most likely any other camera. And I have showed you I've showed an example of how I color match the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 D-Log to my Sony cameras. On this other video, I'll link somewhere here. So yeah, this is just a rough comparison between the Osmo Pocket 3 and the Sony ZV-E1 on an AI-powered camera, AI-powered gimbal that can track. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, you think this was helpful in terms of helping you make a business purchase decision or whatever, please like the video, subscribe, and until next time, lighten up.
Hey man, what toy is that?
It's the DJI Pocket 3.
Oh my god, that toy camera, it's red. It takes so long to set up.
Actually, it boots up pretty quick. Starts right up.
That screen, it's small, like the thing in your pan. You can't see it.
Actually, this 2-inch screen is pretty clear, but if you need to, you can monitor the footage on your phone.
The small sensor image quality, it's red.
It's actually a 1-inch sensor, 4K 60, 4K 120, 10-bit with D-Log.
It takes too long to put away.
Actually, it turns off really quick and the gimbal locks right up.
The battery, it don't last a long time like me in the bedroom.
The battery on this little device is actually quite decent, but you could even extend the battery with this extension.
It don't have hidden color shine. And the gimbal, it play out. I but much better.
Most cameras have decent IBIS these days, but nothing matches an actual gimbal.
Let me show you. Hey man, this the cinematic Canon vlog. The Canon color shine is the best.
Bro, why does the corners look like jello?
It filmed organic shape